mind that we've already dealt a little bit with the VCF envelope as we were dealing with the filters. And of course, the ADSR part works exactly the same with the VCF filter. But let's listen to it for a second, shall we? Now, if we were to go up to the settings and do the velo slider over here, we would get the same thing. But instead of the amplitude being changed by velocity, we would get the intensity of the VCF envelope's application to the filter cutoff changing. One of the things that sounds more satisfying to me than just the VCA envelope responding to velocity, because the fact of the matter is many acoustic instruments that we play, like a piano or whatever, they actually get brighter the harder you play them. So we're getting a more natural outcome than just amplitude. When you strum a guitar really hard, you're going to get more bright frequencies than if you gently pluck it. So to have the envelope of the filter involved in this whole process gives it a more satisfying outcome. It's a cool sound. And of course, if you look over here, you have the same thing, same choices you can make: amount and times natural. We can shorten it. Or we can extend it. So that is cool. And we also have this same single, repeat twice, repeat thrice, and then looping that we had with the other envelope. And we can do it 3 times. And of course, it's more fun if it happens more quickly. Weird. Oh, and that's the other thing that we have to keep in mind. I'll point this out in looping. I should have pointed this out with the VCA envelope as well. Okay, now we'll go to looping. Keep in mind that we're not just talking about one filter and one amp. If you play the notes at different times, the loops are going to happen at different times. The repeats are going to happen at different times because they're activated by you pressing the key. And since there are 6 notes, 6 oscillators per layer, there's also 6 envelopes and 6 filters. So they're all responding a little bit differently. So you can get things like this happening. Which looping envelopes are really the way to go. You can get really interesting outcomes. Okay, and let's go back to down here in the amp envelope, and we can set it to looping too. Weird. Anyway, you can get multiple iterations of each of these things playing against each other. And you can probably time the iterations against each other. It's a little bit quiet, I know. It's so weird. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot going on there. And let's keep in mind also that we do have a modulation envelope. The modulation envelope has many of these same things. The attack and decay have the same sort of quick and percussive. Let's keep in mind also that the attack and decay in the filter have the same sort of quick and percussive. So you can change the settings of the envelope, the curves of those envelopes. Let's actually have a listen to that before we move on. Oh, let's cause the amp envelope not to freak out as it repeats at a super high rate. Okay, let's go back to... Okay, let's mess around with the attack and decay settings. I'm going to set the attack to quick. It was like this. Interesting, I had a velocity setting there that I didn't know I had. Okay, that is the typical setting. Let's listen to the quick. It's just slightly faster. Okay, and the same for the decay. That one, again, is a little more noticeable. And they interact with the settings of the velocity. So, because, you know, you can, obviously we set the velocity curves, and those interplay with the normal curves of the attack and decay, and you get completely different sounds. It basically means you can not only shape the curves of your envelope settings, but then you can shape the curves of how velocity affects them, and a little pretty complex there. So more than I'm used to in as a person who deals with analog synthesizers. That is not usually what happens. Okay, so again, we have this mod envelope that it's not, unlike the VCF envelope, which could theoretically be directed to anything in the patch panel. The VCA envelope could also be directed to anything in the patch panel. The mod envelope is not directed to anything until you direct it. So I'm going to turn off our VCF, our built-in envelope amount affecting the VCF. Then I'm going to go over here to the patch panel, and I'm going to direct our mod envelope to control the filter cutoff of our filter. So let's have a listen to that. Okay, keep in mind we do have a delay on this. So this envelope acts just like the other envelopes. And we do have a delay, so we can turn that up. We can turn it way up. So you can have quite a delay if you'd like one. Hello. These seconds. Oh. Well, that was agonizing, but great because you have that length of a delay. I don't know how long that was, but anyway. As we're doing something so boring, I know, by modulating the filter, which is something we can already achieve someplace else, but it helps me portray this envelope better. Okay, so if we then go into the settings and hit delay, we get just the, there's no, curve settings. But you do get to do the same thing where you can have it repeat twice. Or 3 times, or you can loop it. And this is great because now your mod envelope is a 4th LFO if you want a 4th LFO. That you set the shape of the wave and the frequency of the repeat with the same settings. But, of course, if you want to, we still can affect the curvature of the envelope itself by choosing the quick and percussive. Which actually makes that last setting I had kind of boring. But so you have that control over the curvature of the mod envelope in addition to being able to create, like in the case where you're looping, your own waveform. You can even further shape that waveform by using the envelope curves accessible by holding settings and moving an attack or decay slider. Let's see what happens if we turn on both of these at the same time. Oh, this is going to be weird. I'm going to see. This may do nothing. It may make a mess, but let's have some fun. Okay, so what if we go up here and we set this to looping as well, and we turn it on negative. Okay. That's the mod envelope affecting the filter cutoff point of the filter we're using. Now I'm going to add in the VCF envelope negatively. See if we get something cool. Yes, we do. As a matter of fact, we do. So guess what, everyone? This, you have the ability to, once again, because it's modular, you have the ability to create things that you'd never be able to even come close to creating on any sort of other polyphonic synthesizer. This is madness. And to think that then you could apply an LFO to the amount of the mod envelope affecting, then you would get even more. You could do your own hand-designed sample and hold. Now, there is only one mod envelope, I think. So what we're doing, we're just using one envelope to affect the filter envelope Basically we're using one envelope to affect the filter cutoff point, but then by adding in the VCF envelope, I think there are 6 of those. There might actually be 6 of the mod envelope. I could do a test right now. But anyway, the point of the matter is you're going to get really cool. And we could also bring the VCA looping envelope into this mess and create something too. Anyway, you get the point. Once you start getting looping envelopes, you're living someplace wonderful because you have the ability to design your own LFO shapes and apply them in whatever way you want without, locking up your actual LFOs. And also, we'll get to this, but on LFO 3, you can actually make it a single cycle LFO, which is an envelope generator. So you have a lot of freedom. If you tie up, all of your LFOs and you want another one, just use the mod oscillator as a looping envelope and you have an LFO. And so, yeah, it makes it really hard for a person like me because, good heavens, this is incredibly complex for an analog synthesizer, and there are just so many options. Okay, so those are the envelope generators present in the Arturia PolyBrute.